Welcome back, guys, to Remax Part 2. We're going to be covering the community news, and English is a tough language. Morrow can agree because he's Swedish. You guys are just noob and American. So, community news, we have Flash and J-Dong invited to Home Story Cup number 10. So basically, Take TV wins the internet. He has a really nice little trailer. We're not gonna watch it. We're gonna watch it in a small little box like this. What do you think, Nathanias? Are you hyped to have Flash and J-Dong next to your body?
Oh, I'm so hyped.
Yeah.
I'm so hyped.
But
you have no idea.
Yeah, but it's not the same as like I would have
Who
loved.
cares? I'm gonna be so drunk I won't care anyway. That's what Home Story Cup's about. It's gonna be fun.
No, but it's not the same kind of Home Story Cup though. It's more of a like tournament and with a big crowd and stuff.
No.
What?
It's
No?
still dude, the place is like a fucking nightclub. It's gonna be sick.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Alright.
man. There's like a giant. Have you seen the other preview videos? There's like a giant pool in the center of the fucking floor you can go swimming in.
Are you for real?
I'm for real. I asked Roddy. He told me. Well, he told me he doesn't remember much about it, but there's definitely a pool there.
That's good.
It's sick. I'm
yeah.
super hyped. I'm
Yeah.
super fucking hyped.
Yeah, it's really cool that he's trying really hard with little trailers of him dreaming about Flash and J-Don coming to the tournament. HuK, are you sad now that you're missing out on Home Story Cup?
Not really.
Just because there's so much money to in Copa?
More just I haven't ever been to South America, so I'm really looking forward to going there.
Yeah, me and you, it'll
Because
be our
that-
first time.
Yeah, I kind of miss Home Story Cup, to be honest.
This is my first. This is my first Home Story Cup. I'm ready to get turned, man. It's gonna
Yeah?
be sick.
What about you, Morrow? Are you gonna be attending Home Story Cup? Are you worthy?
No. No, I'm not worthy of an invite, but
Oh.
yeah, sucks.
Are you gonna
But
get
that's
your
fine.
ginger people to DDoS the stream then?
Yes, we will gather when the moment comes.
All right, so the Home Story Cup again, November 15, 16. Check out Take TV; they're awesome people. The next news is map number 4 has been announced. Ohana. So far, Ohana, Cloud Kingdom, Daybreak, and Metalopolis. Nathanias, what are your fondest memories of Ohana?
Desi, my favorite time was that one barcode Protoss when I had just gotten into Master League, who proxied a Void Ray, built a pylon on the low ground, and that Void Ray made that pylon unkillable with just 2 Marines, and he warped in 3 Zealots. I bashed my keyboard angrily, told him he was a disgusting bastard, and left the game. That's my fondest memory
Is it really?
of
Wow.
Ohana. Getting Void Ray all in on Ohana.
Yeah.
The low ground pylon warp in. When you could warp in from low ground pylons, how dumb was that? Thank God you can't do that anymore.
No, but the sickest thing was like playing a macro game and then you have the pylon next to the main and you warp in the DT above. Then you just send little DTs everywhere. Oh,
That too. Throw it all in there. It's all terrible.
yeah, that was great, man. More, what are your fondest memories of Ohana?
It's gotta be back when I was a Zerg player getting Immortal Rushed every single game and not being able to stop it.
Yeah?
Those times were amazing. And then
That
watching
happens
DSL
too.
and seeing Parting do it every single time against every single Zerg and they was blind countering it, still losing to it. Beautiful times. Can't wait to see that again. Now when I'm Terran and all.
Yeah. It's a good map for Terran, man. It's so wide, so easy to make a concave and fuck Protoss in the butt.
Well, yeah, I think it's good for Terran, but it would be amusing to watch the Zerg players die to Immortal Alliance. If that's still a relevant build, I don't know.
Of course. What about
Real
you?
question.
Yes?
Sorry. Keep going.
No, go ahead.
I have an after comment about the map pool thing. That's
All right. What about you, Chris?
Favorite memory would be playing Scarlet a lot on that map and having creep at my base at like 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Her creep spread's really good, and that map's pretty small. So if you creep spread correctly, they have creep very, very quickly at your natural and your third. So that was a little infuriating. I think that'd be my favorite memory, I guess.
All right. Personally, for me, it was when we played, me and you, in that IPL tournament, and you just force fielded the ramp, and I couldn't blink above the force field at your natural. Remember that 3-0 that you did, and then since it was 3-0, they didn't even show the third game IPL. They
I
were like,
remember.
they were
One
like,
of my fondest memories of my relationship with you was that series.
His wrecking face.
like I was so dumb back then. I was practicing a lot. I was in Poland, and then I messaged him like a week before the match. I'm like, man, I've been practicing so hard. I watch all of your VODs. And then the fucker changed all his builds. But what was I doing? Telling him that I can't. That was one of my dumbest moments. But yeah, what are your afterthoughts of the map pool, Nathanias?
I really want to know what tournaments will use this pool because
No.
the thing is, as much as we're going to talk about how cool it'll be to see Immortal Central Islands every single game, that's only going to happen on ladder if nobody has the balls to run an online cup. And I guess it goes without saying that, of course, I will probably run some show matches with these, but I really want to know if like base trade gets some sort of like month-long thing, or like if Go4 SC2 decides to use this for like the off season, because I think it'd be fucking hilarious.
They will be using it in WCS, right?
No, hell no. Are you
No,
crazy?
No.
What?
No.
No.
So
What?
it's just like a season
It's
where
just
everyone gets
it's
terrible
just
practice.
during the off season, and then when
It's
they start
for-
the new
it's like a
WCS
month.
season.
It's for like a
They'll have
month
new
and a
maps.
half. It's for like a month and a
Oh,
half
okay.
because it's the
Alright.
season ends in November, and then they're gonna. I'm sure, surely they'll announce stuff about next year by BlizzCon, and then most importantly, before by January we should actually know like what the maps will be. Surely we would if they're.
I
gonna
feel
make
like
these
they have to
announcements.
come out with a map pool like mid-December. If they don't, then it hurts the pro gamers. Like even if they don't change the map pool on ladder, if they tell us the map like at least a month in advance so we can prepare for WCS, then it's okay. But if they go a month and a half without telling us anything and then they release the map pool like you have a week to ladder before your WCS match with the new map pool, I feel like that's the wrong way to go about it.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I was asked about this when they were doing this. I don't know how much I should say because I know he's watching. But
Yes.
basically, my suggestion was that the map pool for season 1 next year be announced earlier so that
Yes.
players can play customs on it if they want, and
Yeah.
hopefully we get something like that. But hopefully it doesn't cause the maps to be rushed out because I have a weird feeling that they haven't already been working on them. But if they
Yeah.
are, then props to them.
Yeah, like Apollo was discussing how this off-season map pool is bad. In my opinion, it brings casuals to just ladder more because it's like a nostalgia train.
99.8% of your player base suck at this game compared to the other 0.2%. So yeah.
And
Go ahead, talk over me.
do you think like streamers like Cats will be more popular since the cheesy builds will be real?
Oh yeah, dude.
I think streaming in general is going to be a lot better. I think people are going to
Yeah.
watch people's personal streams a lot more just to see the crazy shit that happens.
Yeah, man.
I'm
I'm
gonna
gonna go 888 from my main base. Fuck the police.
Yeah. I don't think it's a bad idea. I think most pro gamers can find people to custom game with. I don't know. I think it's a lot of the Europeans that are kind of upset.
The ladder heroes, I'm sure, are very upset.
Try
You know,
hard.
I was pretty upset because I thought this was gonna be like the new season and we're gonna do
No,
this
no,
for like
no.
4 months.
No,
but,
no.
I think this is pretty fun actually, and yeah, I think we can just find practice custom game as long as we know the new map pool for the new season. It's everything is fine to
And
me.
I think it's important to point out that for every other season this year for WCS, the map pool, their season itself has reset for ladder and the maps within a couple of days ending of the last season that was wrapping up. For example, like WCS America season 2, like within the weekend after it ended, we rolled over, but they're keeping the maps in until November 7th or 8th. It's on the if you log into Starcraft, it tells you when the season ends, but basically like they're keeping the map in for a month, so they're not immediately doing it now that WCS season 3 is over. So like players will still be able to practice on it before BlizzCon. Maybe it's awkward for the people going to DreamHack Winter because they'll have like 3 weeks of, probably having to play custom games.
Yeah, it's true.
In that regard, hopefully they don't use the season 3 map pool then, because people can't play it on ladder anyway.
Why?
I don't know, man. I think if your tournament isn't tied to WCS points, you should try to make it interesting in a way, and you try to make yourself different than the other tournaments. So people are more enticed to watch you.
Yes, very true. More, you have any final thoughts on this map pool?
No, not really. I haven't said what I need to say.
Yeah. Are you excited for Step of War?
I am. I am. I'm streaming it. Got 2 racks every game.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. The next community news: Startel and Flash Wolf to partner for Pro League. HuK, are you sad, disappointed, happy, indifferent? What's the emotion chart here?
Well, I knew they were looking for someone to partner with for a while now, probably
Mhm.
almost a month.
Yes.
Considering what players they have and what players they possibly could have, I think it's pretty good. I think Startail's probably the weaker side. I just want to see somebody be able to compete with the actual Korean teams, like the Kespa teams, because everybody so far has sucked. Like all the ESF teams that came in, they all sucked. So I mean, if they do well, I'll be happy. If they suck, then I'm gonna be not happy, obviously. Just depends how much they value it, right? Because the reason the Kespa players are so good at this pro league is because all their sponsors are Korean, so they want to do well in the Korean league to please the fans that are Korean, that buy the shit from the sponsors. But if you're like an A team or a Chinese team or whatever team, you don't have Korean sponsors, so you really don't care if the Korean fan base watches your games or you do well or you do bad. So it's hard to say, but we'll see, I guess.
Okay. Nathanias, any thoughts on this partnership? Does it make sense?
I mean, it makes sense as long as it gets us actual games. If it was impossible for one of the teams to compete without this partnership, then obviously it's great. I don't think any of the players, aside from Life, really draw my attention enough to care too much until we see the results next year, though.
Yeah, because for those that didn't know, Startel was partnering with IM, and they definitely had a smaller roster than, and that's why they partnered mostly. Well, they didn't get into Kespa, but and now they're partnering again because they still have a small roster. Morrow, anything to add?
Could you like name a few players, because I'm not sure like what the hell is going on with those teams anymore.
Okay. So Startel as, let me look it up real quick. So Startel as Life, HuK, and Wikipedia has been so slow to load lately. I don't know about you guys. They picked up Alive. They have Curious. Then they have a few Protoss, Panic, and Stun. And Flash Wolf as Linux and San. Do they have Linux? Or yeah, they have Linux, right? I was thinking of the Spider team with Czech. So they have a really good Taiwanese player, Haz and Yan, and then they have Linux and San. So lots of Protoss and Zergs basically, and not so many Terrans. All they picked up Alive, but
Well, they have a couple of good players, right? I think I think they can do well if they take it as serious as the Kespa teams does, but usually that's not the case. So I have a feeling they will fall behind once again.
Yeah, it'll definitely be nice to see Sun compete in Pro League again, or compete for the first time in Pro League. But it'll be nice to see more of him versus Koreans, because for a good majority of this year, Sun was one of the EU Koreans that was doing the best versus the actual Koreans. The GSL, was it the World Championships this year? Was that how it was called, HuK?
No idea what you're talking about.
You know, like the GSL tournament they did, like the special tournament they did, and then there was the qualifiers.
The Super Tournament?
Yes.
That's what it was called.
Okay. And then in the Kespa Cup as well, Sun was doing well. Or no, yes. Okay. So moving on to the next Empire and Happy Part Ways. So HuK, your thoughts on this while you're drinking?
I don't know.
You think it's like the beginning of the end for the Russian teams and?
No, not necessarily. I don't even know that many Russian teams. Like, what other Russian teams are there?
Well, there used to be Roxkiss with Titan and Lyserg, but they got rid of Starcraft. There was Virtus Pro. I think they got rid of Slivko. I think. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
I really don't follow the European scene.
Not that
like
I'm-
I know
You know
most
how-
of the Europe. Okay. Jesus Christ.
Okay,
Nate.
he's-
Go ahead.
He's on New Era Gaming. He left Virtus Pro in August.
Good, Nate. What did you want to say?
I was not super surprised because I knew Happy was the last player on the team, but I guess he didn't do what they wanted him to, or they're just done with Starcraft.
They it was decided since summer, so
That sucks.
yeah, buddy.
Yeah.
But what is interesting is where Happy is gonna go from here, because in my opinion he's almost like the best foreigner. Obviously there's a couple of foreigners better than him, but he's teamless and everything, and he's like one of the few guys who you can actually see get very far in tournaments, especially now when Tarn is doing pretty well. So I think now would be a perfect time to pick him up if anyone is gonna pick him up.
The
I
problem
don't know
is,
what
though,
team that would be.
he doesn't have like a great personality. He's not
Yeah.
very outspoken. I don't even know how good his English is, to be honest.
His English is excellent when you hear him talk, but yeah, he doesn't really talk a lot. He just wants to play games all day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't have the best view from him. Like, if I was a manager or an owner of a team, like, sure, he's good, but unless like he's giving me part of his winnings for next year, that would be a big incentive. That I think, like, if he said whatever team I join, they get 10% of my winnings, then I would be more incentivized to sign him. But other than that, I don't know. I think
Like
players.
he does have his stream with he has pretty good stream viewership, and he streams like all day long his ladder games. So you get from that, and you get to see him in tournaments. I think there's like plenty of sponsorship things
Yeah,
revolving around
maybe
that.
I think a European team. I guess I don't even know what teams are looking for players right now. But I don't see an NA team picking up Happy. to be
No.
honest.
Well, there's so many Korean free agents, right?
Yeah, but they're expensive, man. You gotta pay for the any visa.
Yeah, but you know, as much as we can all talk about how horrible it is that players like Flash are winning tournaments, or MMA or Bomber, I don't see any non-Korean Terrans results magically increasing to the point where, like, if you're gonna say, I'm not sure what team is looking to sign anybody anyway, but there's like no sign that all of a sudden if you sign a foreign Terran they're gonna win a tournament, because that, I mean, it just doesn't. I don't see it. Like, aside from the Korean scene, the Terran killing everybody thing isn't really happening. At least not that I've noticed.
Yeah. Since Thorzane, right?
I mean, who was he the last foreign Terran champion? I guess. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Or Bunny.
Bunny would be the the whole-
Okay, yeah, that was that Chief.
Yeah. Or Xenocider.
I don't even, dude. I
Yeah,
couldn't.
the-
I actually don't know a single other player that competed in that one thing that he won. I'm sorry.
There was Rhett and Wolmu.
That tournament wasn't very well advertised then. I don't know what to tell you, man.
Yeah.
That was before. That was when Terran was underpowered anyway. Like that was quote unquote underpowered anyway. Like from last year. I don't even know. I don't know, man. That doesn't make me feel any more. I'm not feeling it. Terran's
Yeah.
OP, sure, but foreign Terrans have never been OP. Sorry.
Yes. I
Only a
agree.
race.
What? No. You think you switched to the wrong race? Or actually, you switched to the right race, man. You went from playing Zerg, the most overpowered in Wings of Liberty, Morrow, to switching to Terran, and now you're living the dream right now.
Living the dream. I would hardly call it that, man. I'm getting raped so hard on ladder, dude. I'm not having a good time. I'm just not seeing it. Like, I'm doing the same builds as those fucking Korean Terrans, and it's like, oh, there's a DT. And I guess this build has no eBay. I guess I lose the game. Like, the fucking top 100 GM protesters play much better than the Korean protesters. I don't understand.
It's the EU ladder, man. Huck's gonna understand soon.
Like, it has a completely different meta game.
I'm losing in fucking Diamond, desRow. I understand.
Yeah, you understand the
Did you-
struggles, right?
No, I was being fucking
It's very
sarcastic. Shut up.
It's very different, man. I played versus this dude called Nomi, and he was like super friendly, and they War Prism 4 gates. I'm like, even regular bad NA players don't do builds like this. What the fuck?
Oh yeah, no, me. I met him plenty of
Yeah.
times. He's interesting to say the least.
Just make sure you build 3 bunkers at the start of every game. That's all.
Mm-hmm.
Kappa.
All right, well, that wraps up the community news. I hope you guys enjoyed it. For the last part of the show, we're gonna do the community questions. So if you
Did
wanna,
you?
what?
Our viewers were 15.
Yeah,
something.
man. I talked to Winter. He hooked me up. All right.
Oh, okay.
So, so if you want to ask a question, you can try your chance on Reddit. But at this point, you'd be better off using Twitter. The hashtag is SC2Remax. So we're gonna start with Reddit, and then we're gonna go on with Twitter. So don't be sad if your question takes a while to get answered. Over the last few days, many pros have begun to admit that one of the main reasons behind Terran dominance is the map pool. Maps like Merry-Go-Round, Nimbus, and Foxtrot. Isn't it hard to see why Terrans is so strong currently? So with balance and the careers of player being so heavily affected by maps, why is so little attention placed on the map making community? Hell, I'm pretty sure one of the maps in the current map pool was made by a Redditor who doesn't even play Starcraft anymore. Thoughts on this? Should there be a new chance and how this? Yeah.
I wanna say this because I thought about it a lot recently, and I was talking to Jinro and a few others who I think are more unbiased now that they're not pro gamers. Even though Jinro, like, to clause this, it's not like Jinro doesn't play anymore. He still masters and plays grandmasters on Korea servers, so it's not like he's a random scrub or something. The biggest problem I feel with Protoss right now is that we went through when Blink was really strong.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like it was used to keep Terrans in check. Like, Terrans were scared, obviously, of Blink because it was fucking strong and the maps were retarded. But at the same time, that kept Terrans very honest. They couldn't be too greedy, they couldn't take too many risks, they couldn't cut too many corners. And everybody agrees that Blink / the maps being changed and Blink being, changed was a good thing. Because Blink all-ins were stupid, and it was a dumb way to win, and it was too easy, etc., etc. But at the same time, I feel like now, in the early game, in the mid game, PvZ and PvT, and for PvZ this would be the Immortal all-in. Even though it's still used sometimes, it's definitely not as strong as it used to be. Even Parting doesn't use it. But an Immortal all-in kept Zerg in check. They couldn't do shit too greedily. They couldn't cut too many corners. And Blink all-in kept Terran in check. But now that both those things are gone, and rightfully so in many ways, but now Protoss really doesn't have that many things that are too scary to Terrans. There's not many all-ins at the highest level that are scary to Terrans. Obviously, Morrow might want to say something to disagree, but I definitely feel like there's not really, like, if you see a Protoss opening up pretty standard, you see, like, you get that Reaper Scout and you see a Robo down, what realistically are you really scared of going into the mid game?
Well, then it's not an all-in. If you go into his base and see a Robo and he's playing standard,
but you're gonna
then
see
it's not an all-in.
you're gonna see the Robo. Yeah, I know, but that's what I'm saying. But it's not only the fact that you see the Robo. But I'm saying Protoss. For basically the next 5-10 minutes, you're not worried about dying to anything. You can move out with your medevacs. You can harass. You can take your third base. You can get your upgrades. You can do whatever you want. And Protoss is just in their base. Maybe they have a War Prism that drops zealots, but that's pretty much the max
They can do
that they could do.
They can do a proxy oracle, like a proxy Stargate.
No, we're talking from the point of
No. You bait with the Robo and then you proxy a Stargate and you make one oracle that comes late.
I don't want to know about your fucking gold league.
That's not
That's
It's legit.
That's a valid build, and that is something that Mana has been doing. That is something that Hero did as well in his recent tournament. You get the Robo, and then you get like the Stargate that are retarded.
Which hero? What tournament?
I'm talking about the Liquid Hero.
In what
I'm
tournament?
pretty damn sure that he did that, but I'm sure Mana has done it.
WCS?
It was done in Pro League, man.
Pro League,
Anyways,
like 3
anyway,
months ago?
it's a valid build. So you get the Oracle at like a stupid time. The Terran sees, oh look, it's a Robo. I'm gonna force out the Nexus cannon. Then the Oracle comes in. You have nothing to defend, and game over. So
What recent
that's a
tournament was that used in?
What?
like the thing.
Pro
just
League
now.
desRow was like 3 months
No,
ago.
but the point is it's real. You have to believe it. We're not lying to you right
It's a
now.
real build.
It's a bit of a thing.
Builds are
So-
real. They were used 2 years ago. That doesn't mean that
Yes,
it's
I
a
understand.
thing. Just because you use it in your
I know.
build,
It
does
is a
not
thing
make
in
it-
Europe anyway.
But we're
Is it?
arguing. We're just arguing anything. So just move on with your point. So if you know we're playing passive, what happens? HuK? Go on with your point.
Well, before I was rudely interrupted by desRow Gold League YouTube tutorial videos over here, I was saying, in like PVZ, if you open up Oracle, like the Zerg, and I've talked to Zerg players about this, like as soon as they see that Oracle, they're pretty reassured. Like for the next 5-10 minutes, once again, just like Terran, you feel relatively safe. You can pretty much do as you please for the next 5-10 minutes. Where Protoss, once again, is just sitting and defending and defending and defending. And I feel like that's definitely a problem. Where before, there was, you know, the Mortal Line was a very fucking scary thing. And you were always, you know, in your back of your mind, you had that, like, they could be a Mortal Line, I can't take that, can't cut this corner, can't cut that corner, etc., etc. And the same thing with Blink in PvT.
Mm-hmm.
But as soon as you scout that Robo, you feel relatively safe in TvP.
Yes.
Maybe EU ladder is crazy and they proxy Tempest on Keeg Sejon.
Yeah, I did
Next
that
to
on
Fox or
Dead Wing.
something.
It's pretty
Yeah,
sick.
once again, Gold League. Don't want to hear about it. But
what's your point here? So the maps, the balance.
it's not. I don't think it's. I don't think it's the maps.
Okay.
I think that
It's
at least from the Protoss perspective is that it's that there's no real aggression that you can do early mid game. That's scary.
But okay.
After the initial scouts.
Yeah, but the thing, okay, so like when Art of the Storm came out, so we had Blink with the Mothership Core that could see 1,000 mile away, and then we had the Oracle until people like grew a brain and figured out how to beat it. So are you saying that with our Legacy of the Void, we need something that helps us be a bitch in the early game to not get to not have to play versus really greedy players?
I just think Protoss to some degree needs something. The Blink all-in was that, but it was stupid, and everybody.
Okay, so there
agreed.
needs to be something in the middle of the road here.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think there needs to be some way that Protoss could be aggressive in the early mid game.
Okay.
That's reasonable.
Yes, that sounds very reasonable thing to say. But to go back to the question, which you didn't really address.
I
Or-
did address.
yeah,
I
yeah,
was
yeah,
saying
yes,
that
yes, yes.
maps aren't
the issue.
problem.
Okay.
I don't think Terran's. I think the maps are not so much good for Terran that they're just not stupidly good for Blink all-ins or like what map would you say is really strongly ZBT favored?
The ZVT?
As Zerg.
Well, we don't really have Zerg.
Well, they're Terran. They could say like,
Oh,
I'm
so-
really scared to play against Zerg on
Morrow.
X or Y map.
Merry-go-round, Red Wing, Overgrowth. Let me
Wait.
see there.
Why are you afraid of Zerg on merry-go-round? Isn't it good for Terran?
Just roaches.
Dude, Roach Hydra builds weren't even a
Roaches
thing until this
on
season.
merry-go-round is the most ridiculous shit ever. Oh my god. Nathanias, tell them.
There are builds, like there are strategies that have popped up, and maybe it's more fun for some people, but like the Roach madness has mostly been this season, including people actually going for Roach Hydra, and even if it's not used by top Zergs, you see it quite a bit on ladder. But so for me, like when I look at the map situation, I'd say it has more of an impact on Protoss than the other races, because
Right, that was really weird. Guys, so we're slowly coming back. Skype was being a little bit difficult. Everyone's going to start their camera. Morrow is a ginger. Hi, so what were we talking about? Oh yeah, the maps, sorry.
Nathanias was talking, I believe.
Yes, Nathanias, what were you talking about?
I just think there's, I guess if we're talking about Roach Hydra, I think roaches suck for merry-go-round. And I don't like them on cattle lane.
But, so, okay, so what makes Roach Hydra too strong for a map like merry-go-round?
You just there's lots of, the area that's so open to attack is
Like the third? The main to
like,
the third? The
so
natural to the third?
the situation that I will use as an example, I'm sure Morrow can expand on this. He's a much better player than me. But you get into a position where the Zerg does like their 1-1 Roach play. It's very, and maybe it's been easier to deal with these days because people have just gotten so used to it. But especially the ability to delay your third base long enough that you can't really get up to like 8-9 racks production as fast as you need to stop a maxed out Roach Hydra attack makes it tough because for me, like I would see this push coming, whatever, you build bunkers or something, and then your army's caught out of position and they get the concave on you and they go for like your natural because of how far away it is from your third base. But It's not, I don't really think it's like a problem. I'm not like saying like it's a really bad thing. It's just a reason why I wouldn't like to play versus Zergs on that map in particular.
Okay.
Yeah. I want to say that I was kind of joking a bit before. There's like no TVs
Yeah.
like in TVC you can play most maps, and it's completely playable like most maps.
Yeah.
I would just not like to play a Zerg on merry-go-round because of the roaches, but you can like change up your style and mix in a random siege tank or get some banshees or whatever. So it's not like Yongsu and Heavy Rain was for TVP. Where
Yeah.
it was just impossible.
Yeah, that's very true. So, why is so little attention placed on the map making community, Nathanias? Well,
So the thing is, the thing that when I look at it from like the perspective of if you're trying to, I'm trying to see it from Blizzard's perspective, which is obviously they like having control over their own stuff, which is why a lot of the maps are Blizzard maps for the last year. This season, in particular, I don't know how quickly people forget things, but this season was like the season of community-made maps where
Yes.
people because last season, season 2, a lot of people were complaining about season 1 and 2. People whined a lot about how Blizzard maps were like, oh, they all have to fit into these weird parameters, and they're all really good for Blink, and Altrazim is a dumb map, and blah 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 blah. People just whined forever. And the one map that was a community map, in case people forgot, was Frost. And Frost was one of the most well-received maps. No one really hated it. I won't say it was my favorite map to play on against Zerg, but no one hated Frost to the point where there were riots about it. So Blizzard was like, well, let's listen to the community. We'll get more community-made maps. The obvious problem with that is that a lot of those maps that were added in this season are not exactly new community-made maps. I believe there was one or two of them. It might have been
Deadwing,
Deadwing. They were entered into the Team Liquid map contest about a year ago, the same way that Frost was. So those maps were made a very long time ago. You could almost say for a different game, because things just aren't the way that they were before. And I mean, if you heard about the way that the Frost debacle went out, like the final version of the map or something wasn't ready in time, so it came out like an extra season late, and then Frost stuck around for quite a while. So those maps, Foxtrot and Deadwing, I believe, are pretty old. Habitation Station might have even been a pretty damn old one too. Yeah, if that was because that map's first competitive debut was at the Battlegrounds last year. But outside of that, I don't know how many. I haven't seen or heard of too many map makers pushing stuff, and maybe that's because like the community at large doesn't really give a shit about maps that aren't being used in tournaments. Since I guess the assumption is that if you it doesn't matter if you make maps, like unless you get voted in some weird contest or something, no one will ever see it. But I think it's tournaments like Shoutcraft did a pretty good job of showing maps that I hadn't seen before, but. It comes down. It's like the responsibility of Blizzard to work with the map makers, because there were other problems with the maps this season too that people didn't really talk about. Another example being the Reaper and Colossus bug it's still on Merry-Go-Round. There's still a bug on that map that was never patched, but it's also on Foxtrot. I'm sure HuK has seen this. This was a really big part of Stardust versus somebody on Foxtrot, where the Colossus just derped back and forth between the main and natural cliff. That bug was patched out of Foxtrot like something like 4 months ago. Like it was patched very quickly, but the guy had no way to get Blizzard to update it to fix that, because Blizzard was just using the original Foxtrot labs that technically.
Are you serious right now?
Yeah, the guy made a post about it.
Wow, but that's so terrible from Blizzard. Like, if you're the map maker and your map was bugged and you're like, yo, I fixed it.
Yeah, Blizzard also has like to go through their whole paperwork process, whatever, if they're gonna allow other people that aren't Blizzard to influence their stuff. Because what if the guy, makes a weird patch where if you put a Marine on a certain base, it gets +3 attack for no reason, and then you kill someone with it, right?
Yeah, but it shouldn't.
You still have to verify and check all that shit.
Yeah, but
I'm trying to just devil's advocate myself here.
Yes, I don't know. Yes, I understand. So, any final thoughts on the maps? Anyone want to go at it?
I just want to say I think it's really important, and like Brood War was so reliant on the maps. That's pretty much the new maps came along and they changed the meta game and so forth, and everything was just so balanced because we had actual real map makers making maps, and then we had actual pro gamers testing maps. and so forth. And now just Blizzard is taking control since day one, and they're doing a terrible job overall.
All right.
It's just how it is. Everyone thinks that they're doing a fucking awful job. It's just
Yeah.
the truth.
Yeah, hopefully, well, this season was good, so hopefully it goes on to be, even better for next season. So the next question is, I think all of you lived and practiced in a team house. Do you think it's the most efficient way to get better? And if so, why is that the most of the top foreigners are living alone? For example, why doesn't Team Liquid have a house? Is it just a financial thing? Personally, I think a lot of pro gamers are just not willing to commit to be outside of like their comfort zone. You know, they want to be home, they want to be in their own thing. Sometimes, you know, you get a lease for your apartment. You don't want to you can't really move that easily. But yeah, the financial thing is a big thing as well. HuK, what do you think? You've lived in a house with EG for a while.
The number one reason is definitely financial. I think if you said we're gonna have this sick house in Korea, we're willing to fly you people out there. We're gonna have 5 Koreans there, and we have 5 foreigner spots. You're gonna have a maid. Everything's gonna be clean. You're gonna be well taken care of. You'll have a manager that can take care of you if you have any problems, etc., etc. And you said can we get 5 foreigners that want to go over there? I'm 100% sure that at least 5 foreigners, top foreigners, would be willing to go over. The problem is that no one can do that. It's really expensive. It's hard to manage. EG did it. Liquid did it at the beginning with OGS. It's just a really expensive, hard thing to do. You have a lot of things that get in the way, not just financial. Some people don't get along with other people. Maybe they can't get big enough house and it's really crowded, or it's really hot, or they don't have AC, or they don't have a maid, they don't have food, it's really dirty. There's a ton of reasons. Number one is if you had enough money, it would be doable, but it's not a viable option at this point. I mean, you and Morrow both lived in the GOM house, as far as I know, for a while, and I know it wasn't the most ideal situation.
Well, I lived in the NS HuK house. I went home because it was too lame to live alone with a bunch of Koreans who couldn't talk English so well. But,
There's definitely
it
lonely
was
issue too.
good practice to live in a team house like that. You can custom game with anyone. Like if they could speak English, like all of them, it would be so good. Like someone next to you, literally sitting there next to you, teaching you how to play.
I had the same problem when I switched to EG and I went to the Slayer's house. I didn't feel like it was the same. Living in the OGS house with like even 2 or 3 other foreigners makes it the world of difference on a day-to-day basis, where you can talk to someone, you can relate to someone. You got a question about a matchup, you can ask them. But like it was disappointing when I went to the Slayer's house and I could see the Koreans talking, and I could see they're talking about the game, or you see one Korean go over a replay and help them. But when there's that big of a language barrier, they'll like say, bad, this is very bad, but that doesn't really tell you shit about what you should change or what options you have or anything like that.
Hey,
And it's the same reason why I definitely believe that we won't see a lot of Koreans coming to North America next year, especially if they have to live here. I don't think any Korean wants to live in North America, even if they get to play in WCS and the money's better. None of them want to do it. Violet and Paul are okay with it because they've already been here and they're established and they speak good English and they're comfortable and they live in a house together. But as far as like a Korean, like if you think, I highly doubt Jaedong's gonna like come over here and live in like the EG house or something. I'd be unbelievably surprised. And the gym house in Europe's really nice because there's a lot of Koreans. They're well taken care of. They have a manager. They don't have to worry about much. So that's a totally acceptable situation.
Yeah, because back when you were with Slayers, you were stuck with desRow, right?
I stayed with Slayers for a very small amount of time, and yeah, once Idra left, I very strongly wanted to go back to the OGS house, and I did. OGS house was sick. I loved it. Best pro gaming house I've been in.
Okay. Morrow, what about the house in Europe? Ministry of Wind. Me and you experienced that life for quite a while.
Well, it wasn't really a pro house. It was more of a streaming house.
Slave
I mean,
contract house.
I guess we all got a bit. At least I got worse at playing Starcraft.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was really fun. Like it's much more fun, and if it's fun, then you can play all day. You get more motivation if you like live and breathe StarCraft with a bunch of other
Yeah.
people. But I'm soon moving to another house in Örebro in Sweden with the team property guys. But basically, it's just me and Starnan who are like pro gamers. So
But
that
that's
should be
nice.
fun.
Are they gonna cook food for you?
We will make food for each other.
Oh, I like where this is going. What about you, Nathanias? Living in the root house for a little while.
It was probably one of the best things I ever did for my ability and skill at the game. Like the having like lined up sleep schedules, like Minigun and Succeed and we basically like ran the same sleep schedule. Drewby would sometimes play at the same time as us, and if I ever had questions, like I would lose a game or they would just come over and watch, and they would point out things that I didn't really notice, or if I played a build that I thought was weird, I could always ask them. And they would send me replays of strategies that their opponents did, and they would show me like why it was really strong or whatever. So I felt like I got better very quickly. I wasn't there for like a terribly long amount of time, but I probably would have gotten GM much sooner if I was there for maybe like another 2-3 months rather than what I didn't end up getting it at like June this year. So it took me quite a long time after, but I got better much faster when I was there. It's just like having people, like, because then you go to get food, or you go for a walk, or you go to the gym, and you can still be talking about StarCraft or anything that's been like puzzling either of you. So
Yeah.
being able to, I definitely can see what Chris is saying though. Like if I went there and they all spoke Spanish, none of them spoke English, it would have been very uncomfortable. You know, like you don't quite get that same camaraderie.
Yeah. Personally, I lived in Korea, so but it was at a GOM TV house, so it was like Swedish guy, French guy, Mexican guy, American guy, German guy, Australian guy. So I didn't get so much of the foreign language treatment. It's really nice to just be able to talk, during lunch with people about the game. I know Todd was helping me a bit back then, and then when I went to Poland, I was right next to the Russians with the tables, and I had Morrow next to me. So sometimes Titan would help me out, sometimes Sage would help me out. So you sort of coach each other, even though you're not on the main team, on the same team, not the main team. And yeah, it's a lot of fun. Team houses are great, but they're a financial burden because you're trying to get better and you're not trying to like produce content. But from living in these two houses, if they had episodes like reality TV, that could definitely gather a lot of viewers. So much drama and shit going down all the time. It was a lot of fun.
Do you wanna post the last shadow video or
No,
what?
the last
Oh,
shadow. No. I mean, come on, man.
Why not?
Because he was like very quick to like walk back, and I was very slow to walk forward. So like no damage was done.
I like the video.
Yeah.
Highlight video. Highlight. Just put it up.
No, no.
Like you bring
Alright,
up the
HuK,
drama part, and
HuK.
then you're not gonna put it.
Huck,
Fun.
you're putting together an all-star EG Heroes of the Storm team, current and former. Who is your captain, carry, support, and thrower?
Who's your what?
Okay, so if you're putting together an EG All-Star Heroes of the Storm team,
Yep.
current and former members of EG,
Yep.
who's your captain, carry, support, and who throws the game?
Well, if I'm basing this on the fucking realm of reality, I think LZ Gamer and Idra are the only ones that play.
No, but like I guess personality-wise or whatever, like just go wild with it, man. Fuck reality.
Okay.
Machine's the captain.
This is a stupid question, but I would say Idra throws, obviously. We get like first blooded, and then he fucking just leaves the game. Doesn't even GG. Captain would probably be. Who would I think would be a good captain?
Yeah,
Or who would actually be captain, most likely?
both.
I think I would be probably the best captain, but who would actually get the job would probably be in control.
Yes.
Who would be the carry? Me. Who would be the support? Bryce. Bryce, like, he's the best support player in real life, too, man. That guy's awesome.
He's a good
like,
wingman.
He's always willing to go a mile and a half for you. I don't know. I guess that answers it. That's all I got to say about that.
Um, what do you guys think of the new old maps that have been revealed? We can answer that. Are you looking forward to Step of War, HuK?
I mean, I guess this is based on the fact it actually makes it.
Yeah.
But if it did actually make it, I would be happy. I voted for it. I think it'll
You
be
would
fucking
proxy
hilarious.
2 gates every game?
No, but
Dude,
I
you
would-
could proxy 2 from your main base.
yeah, I think it'd be really funny. I think I would enjoy.
I
playing it.
remember
And
when
then if people actually fucking hated it, they could just veto it. So
yeah, I remember when Artosis did a guide on the 3 Stalker Rush, and it was on Step of War. Imagine now, it's gonna be crazy, man. Morrow, are you looking forward to Step of War?
Yeah, like I said before, it's gonna be fun to 2-rex third players.
Hey, maybe you're gonna win another tournaments with Reaper, man.
Perhaps. I
fucking
don't think
desRow.
Reaper strategy would be so good anymore though. It
Oh.
had about 10 nerfs or something.
Yeah. What about you, Nathanias? Looking forward to it?
Of course I am. It's
Are
gonna be
you,
fun.
are you gonna bring back your like 3-port Banshee build that you were bragging about on MLG when you were Diamond, and you had like 10 Twitch viewers?
You know, my 2-port Banshee build was really strong back when Overlords were slow and Protoss players didn't build Stargates at the start of every game. So I think I'm probably just gonna stick to regular cheese. Probably just 2-Rax or Reaper every single game.
Okay, moving on to the next question. What is the biggest thing that Legacy of the Void has to bring to ultimately revitalize the RTS gender? Why is it written in French but it's an English
Genre.
word? Genre.
Genre.
But there's no D and R and A. It's like un genre.
Genre.
Yeah, that's weird
Genre.
though. Genre. All right. And specifically Starcraft 2 to make it flourish once again. So what do you think needs to happen for RTS to be like the hot shit, Chris? Skins?
Yeah, skins.
No, you don't agree with that. You were talking with me.
You
and Kim.
think skins? You think if they came out with fucking 100 skins, you think, boom, LOL, Dota, fucking dead, Starcraft 2.
No,
top
no,
of the-
no, not
That's
100.
what that's what your question was, though. Whatever. You think skins would make Starcraft the most popular game?
I think it would make it
No,
more
no, no,
fun.
no. Yes or no? That's the fucking question you just asked me. You said,
No,
you
but
said,
Riv-
what do you think would make StarCraft the most popular genre again?
No,
And then you
no,
said
that's
skins.
not the question. The question is to revitalize it, to make it like grow again.
So what?
Revitalize.
Revolutionize.
No, it's revitalize.
Well,
but good
revi-
job.
yeah,
you two.
okay.
I tried.
Fucking,
I tried.
I
to
think they need to
understand
come up with like a read 180 program with StarCraft 2 so our players know how to read words.
All right, so
Fucking- I think the game being fun and good would have the best shot at making it a better esport, making RTS better, all the things. So introduce units that control space well, and that can be used both offensively and defensively, like the Lurker, possibly the Widow Mine, not the Widow Mine. The fucking regular mine from Vultures and stuff, something like that. Anything that controls space and has a lot of adaptability, I think, would help make StarCraft 2 a better game.
what about you, Nathanias?
I mean, the question seemed more pointed towards RTS, right?
Yes.
RTS is not a fun genre of game. There's a reason why it's not that. Like, if you're looking at how you make RTS more fun, like every game, and I can't. There's a few that I can think of that I can't name, but they've tried the whole like going in and controlling individual units or whatever. But it's just like strategy games are just very difficult to grasp, and they require 100% of your focus, man. Okay, if you're trying to multitask, if you're trying to do something in real life while playing StarCraft, it's not really possible. I can eat my dinner while I play League or Dota or whatever. Even if I suck at the game, you know, it's doable. It's doable at a casual pace. I don't think that RTS. There's a reason why there's no other RTSs except for StarCraft. Like, maybe there's some new Age of Empires that no one bought, or what was it? Command and Conquer even got canceled because they realized, well, it was a fucking waste of time. It wasn't even gonna work. Like, Blizzard putting so much money into an RTS is pretty impressive to begin with, mostly because Starcraft Brood War was kind of out during like the time that RTSs were popular, which was when PC gaming was becoming a thing. Because you had Starcraft Brood War, you had Age of Empires Gold, which was like the fucking was I have that right up there with Starcraft, and then you have Command and Conquer, which lots of other players. I guess like Apollo, a lot of people play. I didn't really get on Command and Conquer myself, but Red Alert was super popular. And then, of course, there's Warcraft 3, which was like the last good RTS before Starcraft 2. And some people still argue that they prefer Warcraft 3 anyway.
Would you say that the reason Starcraft 2 got so popular was just a recipe of nostalgia and
yeah,
and just like
if this
timing?
if this game is released by someone else, like if you imagine that this game is reskinned to be like a new Command and Conquer game, I'm pretty sure it's like the game. It's like the campaign is pretty fun to play, but like the multiplayer, it's like, well, you don't have that huge scene to pull on from Brood War, and you like how many of the people in this scene were all Brood War pro gamers or Brood War casters or Brood War tournament organizers? Pretty much everybody. Like pretty much anyone you know is either come through another Blizzard game or they were some sort of professional in the Starcraft scene. There's very few people that like started with Starcraft 2, and even then, it's the scene that's already existing that draws you. Like this wouldn't. I don't think you have a game this successful if it's Command and Conquer Tiberium Wars 2 or whatever, right? Because that game fucking flopped like hell. Like, it's just RTSs are just they're never gonna be a big popular genre, but for the reason like when people talk about the popularity and how StarCraft was the number one, well, it was like the first game that people streamed, and StarCraft tournaments were StarCraft was like just kind of came at the right time where people were just hyped enough about it, and things like Twitch had just started up, like I don't think honestly people that talk about the popularity of the game are wasting their time. If you like to play RTSs, you're in the right place because this is the best one.
Yeah.
But if you think you're going to convince a bunch of other people to play a slow game that requires hours and hours of practice just to be fucking Silver League, then you're playing a fool's game. You're better off working on the arcade than the actual game itself.
But I agree with you on like almost everything you've said. I totally agree. But at the same time, Brood War was insanely popular when there were other games that were a lot easier out. And it wasn't because, like, the nostalgia factor or anything. It was just a really good game. And it was more difficult than StarCraft 2, even, to be good at.
Yeah, but people got lazy, man. Mobile games, fucking everything should be easy and giving you rewards and making you feel good.
I feel Blizzard really went wrong when they were making this StarCraft 2. They think they want to make it so casual friendly. They make it so you can select more buildings and all that stuff just so the casuals can enjoy one-on-one more. But they completely forgot about that Warcraft 3 was insanely popular in Brood War as well. Like amongst the casuals, you were playing tower defense and all that. Like UMS maps, custom maps, but in StarCraft 2, that almost doesn't exist. Like some players play it, but it's not the same as Warcraft 3 or Brood War. Making maps in StarCraft 2 is insanely hard. You don't have those heroes like you did in Warcraft 3 to like have like something to go from to make a map. It's just really difficult to make a map in StarCraft 2, and the arcade is terrible compared to first Battle.net and I think that really took a big blow to the casual player base of StarCraft 2. I don't think casuals are supposed to be playing one-on-one that much. I think they were meant to be playing UMS maps, and it's a really shame because there just aren't as many good maps in StarCraft 2. I think that's a huge factor.
Yeah. The way I put it into perspective is I did not know about competitive StarCraft until maybe 2010, around the time that I heard StarCraft 2 was being announced. I played Brood War since 2004, and I played maybe 5 games melee against another opponent, 1v1 total. I played thousands of custom games. Like I didn't even know there was a pro scene. No one had ever mentioned it. None of my friends knew there was a pro scene for the longest time. And then with like StarCraft 2, there's been better pushing of stuff like that, but the custom map scene is not like I've never except for like when the game first came out, I felt enticed, not really at all. I don't even open the arcade tab unless I'm going to Unit Preloader or Marine Split Challenge. And the fact that Unit Preloader even exists is like, it's kind of like a sad story. Like, the only reason I open an arcade is to go to Unit Preloader so that my 1v1 doesn't lag as much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it's a very fair point. Arcade is a lot of fun. Or not a lot of fun, and should be a lot more fun for the casuals. Moving on to the next topic. Someone's asking, Neural Parasite, should it be back to 9 range? Would 9 range really break the game? Infestors are kind of underused currently, and Neural is one of those spells that may as well not be in the game unless it's useful at pro level, in my opinion.
I would have personally no problem with it as long as you couldn't Neural the mothership. I think that would make it a little too strong. But other than that, I think it's an ability that's practically never used. Yeah. So buffing it isn't really a problem.
Personally, I told David Kim back when he was still talking to me before he blocked me when I told him that I told what he said to me on Reddit. But back when I was still talking with him, I told him like the Infestor should, when it's casting Neural, it should still have the energy left so you can feedback it. So you can break the Neural with a feedback.
So you think the neural energy gets taken away when the tether is canceled?
Yes. So you can feedback it. Because, like, getting everything fungal, like, you lose your range units. Or like, getting everything neural, you lose your range units to kill those infestors. At least if you have feedback still available, you can save the situation. Not bad. See, that's the face I want to see.
That's weird. From a design perspective.
Yeah, that's what he said. He's like, it won't make sense. The people won't understand.
It doesn't really, like, how do you justify? I'm not sure how it makes sense. I can see where.
I don't know. It's a fucking Zerg, man. They're like not biological unit. They don't make sense. Well, they are, but
I think it's more of the fact that it would be a bitch to
explain
to change the infestor. It's not like something, they have certain things that they can change, like numbers on units, HP, whatever. That's easy to change. But as far as like changing the cast animation of a infestor, they would have to redo the whole unit probably. So it's probably more that than anything else.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Morrow? What's your thoughts on range 9 infestor?
I can't really remember it being used that much against Terran. Against some pushes you can mirror Thors and so on, but I don't really see that's like not super viable anyways, because basically Viper pull is the same thing as Neural Parasite. Like, it counters the same stuff, and
that's very true.
Same counters.
Yeah,
they're kind of overlapping each other. I don't know.
So what we're saying is the Infestor needs a rework because it's fucking useless?
Possibly, yeah.
No, I think Fungal is still very useful, but
yeah,
I think exactly what Morrow said, Viper pretty much does the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very true. Moving on to the next question, we're going to the Twitter questions. I'll try to make it short for you guys, because I know Morrow is African children starving. It might be a dumb question, and I know it's been talked about on Reddit, but would we ever see a caster tournament? Would it be good? Let's answer the question. Would it be good?
Oh, it would be
fun,
hilarious,
really
hilarious,
really funny to watch some matchups for sure. I'm the worst person to ask about this because I am the first person that would click accept if someone sent me an email saying, "Hey, we're having all the casters play. Would you like to play?" Because obviously I would want to play. But I can tell you,
but
it's not going to happen.
I'll say why, because I don't know if Nathanias doesn't want to rock boat or something.
I'm not saying anything.
Casters are fucking horrible.
Yeah,
but they've been horrible for a long time, and the casters that a lot of the casters still have credibility with 90% of the audience of being ex-pro gamers and very good at the game.
Yeah, but it's fucking disgusting.
Grandmaster on, with certain races on certain servers when it's bullshit, and it's just untrue. But what would they gain from playing the tournament? Unless you said like, we're gonna give you 25k to play this tournament, which will never happen. They will never play it. It doesn't make sense. They would
make an event have more viewers and make Starcraft more popular.
They would have to do it ESGN style, just pay everyone for showing up in the first place.
And a lot of money too. It couldn't. It wouldn't.
Dude, if you like, if
Do you
I
not understand?
No, if I
why?
could, like-
because your like small brain doesn't understand.
no,
the
no,
concept
I
of
do
the-
understand, but you have like other people in other games do it, like the Dota people. They do play.
Yeah, but
That's a more that's a more edgy community for one. For two, their community isn't as big critics of the casters as far as like to be a good caster, you have to play the game.
No.
or is our Skype looking out?
Yeah, no, we're back. We're back. I'm gonna call my
Fucking
ISP. I'm gonna call my ISP, man. They're gonna die. Alright, go on.
Well, Nathanias was talking because I saw his mouth moving, and I was talking, but no one probably
I
heard
thought
either.
you were. I don't think anyone heard either of us. I didn't hear you, so I just assumed you stopped.
Yeah, I didn't hear you either. There, it just won't happen. The community's a lot more, a lot bigger critics, and the community bases casters' credibility on how good they were or claim to be, and the casters claim to be a lot better than they actually are, or that they actually play the game. So,
Yeah, it's sad. It's sad. We live with hypocrites. Alright, moving on. Nathanias, why did you shave? You didn't answer earlier. Did you
No,
answer?
I did.
You
I
did?
did, and I
Yeah,
said
but-
I felt after being so OP that I was a Terran in GM, like the Protoss tiers, just they got all stuck in my beard, and I had to be less dirty and shave it off to get rid of it all.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because obviously the only reason I ever got GM is because I played Terran Kappa.
We have a very funny question on Twitter. Thoughts on Master League shrinking to 1.5% of the population? It's much harder to get Masters now. Didn't Blizz want it at 2%?
It's good. It's good. You know how many people forget things so easily in StarCraft, man. I remember when I was in Masters League, you know, there used to be a thing called low master, right? And low master was not actually, you didn't achieve low masters. Everybody in Masters League was put there, and half the players never left it because they played 2 games to get placed every season so that they could be masters with a 2K bonus pool at the end of the season, and that was it. So all Blizzard really did was basically make it so you have to play the game a little bit more to get masters, and even then, it's hard. I guess it's hard to ask us, right? Because we'd get it easily anyway. I don't know.
Do you what does everyone think? It's a BC Cutie asking this on Twitter. What does everyone think about the asymmetrical Catalina, that space behind main natural base, and why the fuck isn't it fixed?
I can't. Okay, well my
I don't
answer.
know what
should
he's
be-
talking about. What is he talking about?
You know,
Okay,
like
if you spawn in the bottom right, you have a massive amount of space. Like if you pull up the map on Catalina, if you spawn in top left or top right, there's not really a lot of airspace.
Yeah.
The left spawn has no.
Oh, okay, I understand. So
Bottom
behind
right,
the
you
main-
have a huge
yeah.
amount of area for our oracles to swing through.
I think it's definitely that's an issue. There should be more at the top left or at the top, or they should make less at the bottom.
Yeah.
There's
Or you-
other
It's a merry-go-round.
merry-go-round. I know is Protoss. When you go to wall, some of the spawns at the natural take 1 pylon and 2 gates, and then you can have 1 zealot block. And then some of the spawns it takes 2 pylons and 2 gates. So
Oh, really?
That's different too.
No, that can't be true, right?
That is true though.
Not for Terran though. Like I feel they're identical as Terran, but
Yeah.
maybe
And
not.
I'm opening up StarCraft to confirm, but continue the conversation.
I was gonna say, Terrans aren't gonna hear anybody's complaints about RNG and map spawns because our spawns dictate how good our walls are versus Zerg players. So whether you can keep your add-ons inside your base or stick them out to be cut off.
Oh, so there's a question on Twitter, and it's kind of weird, but I want to ask the panel a different question. The question is, do you want to get Legacy, with an A, of the Void earlier, for a more balanced game? My question to you guys is, what is Blizzard going to do now that there's WCS? How are they going to get pro gamers to play the beta?
I don't know how far along they are in their development of the multiplayer or what place they're in. and maybe this is like a greedy thing to say, even if it wasn't for me, like, because obviously I would love to have my hands on it to give feedback, and I'm sure every single pro gamer does. But as soon as you do that, you have obviously people that are in
Exposure?
tournaments. You start to split people around. I think it's a
Um,
good idea. I don't think it's hard for me to think of any negatives because if a few players can't do it because they have a tournament coming up, then so be it. But
it's
I think
gonna,
as
it's gonna,
early as possible, people in the scene should be able to give feedback.
it's gonna happen the same way it happened with Hops. There's gonna be a cutoff with tournaments. You know, this was the last Wings of Liberty tournament I could play, and I don't have another tournament for a month and a half. So, and it's gonna be Hots is gonna be released by then, so I'm gonna start playing it for the next month
So
and a half.
do you think?
And I'll dabble in it until then. But you have to realize that so many pro gamers rely on stream money that there's going to be enough people playing Legacy of the Void to give proper feedback, because Legacy of the Void's going to get a lot more viewers than
Yeah, but
playing Hunt.
yeah, but it's gonna be crazy, man. So what kind of time frame are we looking at? Like they released the beta right after season 3 of WCS.
Well, it depends when they want to actually release
Because-
the game.
yeah.
Like you're working on these like this imaginative plane of
Yeah, no,
time
but you're
that
like
you have
you're
no
hurting
concept
the
of.
viewership of your tournaments because people will still want to watch Legacy of the Void. So your Art of the Swarm tournaments are gonna struggle with viewership.
Yeah, but it's gonna happen the same way it happened with Hots. There, like as much as you want to complain, there's no reasonable.
I'm not complaining. I'm asking you for your feedback.
I'm telling you right now, if you would let me talk, is that there's no reasonable solution than what I just said. The most reasonable and sensible thing is to have it happen the same way that it happened with Wings of Liberty.
Yes, but now with WCS, would you wait for season 3, or would you not give a fuck at any point?
Oh, it has to be definitely between WCS seasons. That's an obvious.
Yeah. It does. I mean, for the tournament format, it doesn't make sense because it's obvious you're not playing the same game technically. But I don't
Yeah.
think the scene. I think we would see actual people riding with real pitchforks and torches outside Blizzard's HQ if they waited until 2016 to make WCS Legacy of the Void.
Yeah? So then the game comes out like next fall? Nathanias?
No one here knows when the game
I
comes
don't
out.
know, but
Like I'm thinking it comes out within the next calendar year for sure. But
it makes sense. It's gotta come out. Like it has to come out. In
it has to come
2015.
out. Yeah, it has to come out. Yeah, but no one knows.
Yeah, but last time the beta ran for so long. Like they added playable
What's
at
so long?
MLG. They
What's
add-
so long?
I'm talking. So they
Time
had,
frame.
hold on, I'm saying it. So they added playable at MLG Summer 2012. Then the beta came out in fall, and then the game. So it was like from September to February. So that's what, 6
From
months.
beta until release.
Yeah, 6 months. Yes.
That's not that long.
Well,
Like, let's say they come out with beta 1 or 2 months after BlizzCon, theoretically. Having 6 months of... I would rather them have 6 months of beta and have a good game than just release the
yeah,
beta.
but
and have a shitty
but
game.
after BlizzCon is a lot. It's not a lot of time before like WCS or anything like that. So anyway, we're speculating really big time. BlizzCon's gonna happen soon. You guys will be blown away. HuK hopefully too. Alright, so that wraps up the show, guys. There's not any more good questions. If you didn't make the cut, I'm sorry. After we do the shoutouts, I'll give away a mouse pad because we reached 1,500 viewers, plus it's the 10th episode, so I said I was going to do it anyway. So, Nathanias, where can we see you next? Do you stream a lot? What are your plans? And so-
I'm going to be streaming for the next few weeks. I'm going to Philadelphia to visit my family and take
Nice.
care of stupid paperwork stuff. But
Damn.
I got hooked up, so I will give a shout out to Cyberpower giving me a laptop to stream with, Based Gods, and yeah, thanks for having me on the show, and thanks to Morrow for being here, so I didn't get gangbanged by the Protoss players. How OP Terran is. And I just like to repeat that if Terran was super, in fact, OP, we would see all the foreign Terrans winning everything Kappa.
Morrow, where can we see you next? Any offline tournaments? We know you've been streaming a lot. Just talk to us about you.
Yeah, so basically I have not a lot of tournaments coming up now. That's the reason why I've been streaming so much as well. So you can watch my stream tomorrow, Twitch/morrow. I will come around lunchtime, maybe a bit later, European time, of course. So see you there.
What about you, Chris?
I'll be at the Taiwan tournament.
When?
The end of the month, I want to say, or the beginning of next month.
So the first
And then-
weekend of November.
Yeah, I believe so. I'm
Okay.
not 100% sure.
And
And,
then
then BlizzCon, I guess.
Yeah.
You'll see me in the crowd.
What?
Sad.
No, we'll be friends. Oh, you mean the
I mean-
fans? Yeah, okay.
But this isn't a personal message to you, desRow. This
I
isn't
don't know.
Snapchat.
I felt. Okay, so
You felt special. Don't
Yes.
feel special.
yes,
Okay, that's it.
yes. And well, yeah. And so for me, nothing offline until the first weekend of November. I'm going to Detroit. There's a tournament at UMACon and the Comic Con. If you're near Detroit, make sure to come out. I've been streaming every day. Check out my stream. I try to do a lot of new stuff. Actually, me and Mo, you forgot. Me and Mo are having a show match on Thursday at 11 a.m. EDT. That's 5 p.m. CET. It's a best of 5 for $100. Me and Mo, casted by Bay Straight TV. So we hope that you tune in, and more will be a tulp as usual. And yeah, guys, thank you so much for watching the stream. I'm gonna run some ads, and after the ads, I'm gonna give away a mouse pad to someone in chat. So all you're gonna need to do is type something in chat after the ads, and after that, I'll owe someone like I always do, and I'll go offline. So thank you again, the panel, for being on the show, and I'll see you guys